It rained so hard the day of my wife's funeral that it felt like the sky was trying to drown the truth with her. People say rain is cleansing, symbolic, a fresh start. Not for me. That rain was a warning, a curtain pulled tight over everything she never said while she was alive, and I stood there alone under it, feeling every drop like an accusation against my skin. I was the first to arrive and the last to leave. My children didn't bother to show until the service was almost over, slipping in with the subtlety of thieves, whispering to each other with that calculating look I'd pretended not to see for years. I knew they weren't there for her. They were there to confirm she was gone, truly gone, permanently out of their way. As they huddled together under a shared umbrella, they didn't spare me a glance. Not a hug, not a hand on my shoulder. I watched their eyes flick toward the minister as he spoke her name, Evelyn, and then flick away just as quickly, as though the sound of it bothered them. Maybe it did. Evelyn had that effect on people even when she was alive, quiet but unyielding, soft but razor-edged when she needed to be. She raised them with a steady, measured hand, but when they grew older, they hardened into something she never intended. When the service ended, they left without a word. No condolences, no shared grief. They were already thinking ahead, calculating what was next. I knew that look. I'd seen it for years, the way their gazes lingered on the house, on the land, on everything that wasn't theirs, but they believed should be. When the last car drove away and the cemetery grew still, I stood over her grave, listening to the rain tap the coffin like restless fingers. I whispered into the downpour, "You knew this was coming, didn't you?" And somehow I felt her answer, not in a voice, but in the hollow pit of my stomach. She wasn't done with them, or with me. I drove home through fog so thick it seemed alive. When I stepped inside the house, it felt different, charged, humming, as though something had been waiting for me to return. Or someone. In the darkness of the hallway, I swear I heard her footsteps, that steady, measured rhythm she had whenever she was pacing and thinking. But grief plays tricks, doesn't it? It twists shadows and whispers into whatever you fear most. So I shut off the idea and went to bed, rain still cracking against the window like she was trying to get in. I didn't sleep long. At sunrise, I woke to the sound of my children's voices outside the front door. They hadn't even waited a day. Their fists pounded on the door like debt collectors. I opened it to find all three of them standing there, Daniel with his jaw clenched, Melissa with that brittle smile she used when she wanted something, and Andrew hanging back, pretending he wasn't part of this. "Dad," Daniel said, not bothering with a greeting, "we need to talk about the house." The house? Not me, not their mother, not their grief, if they had any left. Just the house. Melissa pushed past me like she lived there. "We know Mom updated the will." I didn't answer. The truth was, I didn't know what she'd done. I only knew she'd been quiet about it, meticulous. Sometimes I'd catch her slipping into her study at night, sealing envelopes, hiding folders. She thought I didn't notice. But after 40 years of marriage, you notice everything, especially the secrets. "We want to see the documents," Melissa continued, heading straight to the dining table. "We want transparency this time." Transparency. A pretty word for suspicion. "You think I'm hiding something?" I asked. Daniel didn't hesitate. "Yes." There it was, the rot exposed. I felt something inside me shift. Not anger, not sorrow, but a cold, precise clarity. Evelyn had known this would happen. She had orchestrated something deliberate. And the children sensed it too. They looked around the house like hunters tracking an animal through the brush. Every tick of the clock seemed to tighten them, wind them closer to snapping. Then Melissa said something that made the air thin. She promised us the house. All of us. She said you'd understand. Understand what? That they believed everything belonged to them? That Evelyn's silence had given them confidence? Or that grief had made them bold? I stepped aside. Search if you want. They did. They tore through drawers, cabinets, old photo boxes. Their desperation was almost feral, as though the inheritance was oxygen and they were drowning. Hours passed before I heard the sound. A soft click. A drawer opening that no one, not even I, had been able to open for years. Evelyn's study. And inside, Melissa held a sealed envelope with my name on it. Suddenly everything fell silent. Even my children. I took the envelope from Melissa's trembling hand. The weight of it felt wrong. Too heavy for paper, too deliberate. My name on the front was written in her handwriting, but something was different. She wrote it slowly, carefully, like she knew her pen strokes would outlive her. Daniel stepped toward me. Open it. Not yet. He scowled. It's about the inheritance. It concerns all of us. But I knew, deep in my marrow, that whatever was inside was never meant for them. I slid a finger under the seal. Inside was a single sheet of paper. And a key. My heart thudded. I recognized the key. It belonged to the small locked chest she'd kept hidden in the wall of her closet. A chest she'd once told me was filled with memories too heavy to carry in daylight. I unfolded the letter. Her handwriting curved across the page in steady lines, a calm voice in the storm of that morning. My love, if you're reading this, the house is already full of footsteps that do not mourn me. Let them search. Let them tear through everything. They will not find what they expect. I felt the children tighten around me, their breathing louder, sharper. You have spent a lifetime giving. They have spent a lifetime taking, so I leave you something they cannot claim. Melissa swallowed. What do you mean something we can't claim? I continued reading. This house is not theirs. It was never theirs. But I know they will come for it. When they do, give them the chest. Their greed will carry the rest. The chest. The key in my palm suddenly felt like a burning coal. Inside is the truth about how they treated me when you were not looking. What they said, what they demanded, what they threatened. My stomach turned. I looked up at the children. Their faces paled. You always believed the best in them. I no longer had the strength to. Let them face the mirror they built with their own hands. The room felt colder. Shadows stretched along the floor. I loved you. I hope this brings you peace. And them clarity. It was signed with her initials, not her full name. As though she didn't want them to see all of her. Only what was necessary. Daniel lunged for the letter. Give it to me. I stepped back. No. Fear flickered in his eyes. Real fear. What did she write about us? Melissa demanded. What lies did she leave? But I didn't answer. I already knew, because the next step wasn't mine. It was theirs. We moved to the bedroom closet, the children trailing behind me like a pack closing in on wounded prey. The chest was still there, wedged behind old coats, exactly where she'd left it. Small, wooden, carved with her initials. I unlocked it. The hinges creaked open like a throat clearing before confession. Inside were 3 envelopes, each labeled with one of my children's names. Nothing else? No money? No deeds? No jewelry? Just the truth she'd promised. I handed each envelope to the child it belonged to. For a moment, just a moment, they hesitated. Then they opened them. The silence that followed felt like a noose tightening around the room. Melissa's hands began to shake violently. Daniel's jaw dropped. Andrew sat down as if his legs gave out beneath him. Inside each envelope was a collection of their own words. Messages they'd sent their mother over the years, demands for money, threats of cutting her off, Accusations, insults, manipulations. Every cruelty they'd kept behind my back. She had saved everything, every message, every voicemail transcribed, every secret they believed would die with her. No, Melissa whispered. She wouldn't keep these. But she had. Daniel's voice cracked. Dad, she's lying. She fabricated these. But she hadn't. I knew her handwriting, and I recognized each of their phone numbers printed on the transcripts. Evelyn hadn't left them money. She had left them their own cruelty. A perfect inheritance. The kind that corrodes the soul. Melissa dropped her envelope and backed away as though the papers burned. You can't use this against us. Against you? I said softly. She left it for you. Daniel punched the wall, then slid to his knees. Andrew whispered, Mom. Why? I answered for her. Because she wanted you to see yourselves the way she saw you at the end. None of them spoke. They didn't ask for the house again. They didn't ask for the will. They didn't ask for anything. They left, quiet, pale, broken, like children caught stealing from a grave. And when the door shut and the house fell still again, I sat alone with the chest, the rain starting once more outside. Evelyn had given me peace, and she had given them the truth. The kind of inheritance no lawyer could rewrite, the kind that destroys from the inside. And in that moment, I realized she hadn't abandoned me. She had finally protected me, even in death.